It was the kind of warm evening only a 90s summer could give you, when the sun lingered long after dinner and the streetlights blinked on as the final signal that the day was truly over. We just finished dinner at my house, corn dogs and macaroni, and my mom had given me the okay to pack my things. That meant one thing: I was sleeping over at Ryan's. I grabbed my Ninja Turtles backpack and stuffed it with the essentials: Game Boy with Tetris, a change of clothes, toothbrush, and my worn copy of Goosebumps, The Haunted Mask. My mom reminded me twice to say thank you to Ryan's parents and not to forget my allergy pills. I didn't care. I was too hyped. Ryan lived 3 blocks down, on Maple Drive, in one of those houses with plastic flamingos in the yard and a chain link fence that always squeaked when you opened it. The second I walked in, I was hit with the familiar smell of his place: fresh laundry, dusty carpet, and that faint sweetness of cherry air freshener. I swear every 90s house had a smell you couldn't bottle. "Dude!" Ryan shouted the moment he saw me. He was already in his pajamas, Looney Tunes pants and a Nickelodeon slime shirt. "You bring the Game Boy?" "Of course I did," I grinned, pulling it out like a magician with a hidden card. We had a tradition. Before any sleepover truly began, we'd play Tetris until one of us lost twice in a row. Then we'd crown the other king of the blocks for the night. He beat me that time, by like 10 lines, but I was still convinced the light in his room gave him some kind of psychic advantage. By 9:30, Ryan's mom brought us snacks: popcorn, root beer in glass bottles, and these bright orange cheese puffs that would stain our fingers until morning. We set everything down on the shaggy brown carpet, and then we built our fortress. The fortress wasn't just a pile of blankets, it was architecture. Cushions from the floral couch became walls, a big Afghan became our roof, and his little reading lamp went inside to light it all up in a cozy golden glow. Inside the fort, it felt like another world. Safer, smaller, ours. Ryan brought out his dad's old portable TV. It had rabbit ears and a dial instead of buttons. We plugged it in, inserted a VHS of Home Alone 2, and leaned back against the pillows with orange fingertips and wide eyes. Halfway through the movie, we started talking about school, about which Power Ranger we'd be, about whether Pokemon were real somewhere out there. Then the lights flickered. There was a storm coming. The room dimmed just a bit, and we could hear the faint rumble in the distance. Neither of us said anything, but I think we both felt it. That little twinge of fear, like maybe tonight wasn't going to be like all the others. Then something knocked outside. Not hard, just once. But we both froze. We both sat there in silence, eyes locked, ears straining. The knock hadn't come from the front door. It sounded like it came from the side of the house, near the old garage where Ryan's dad kept his rusted tools and a broken lawnmower. The TV buzzed quietly behind us, frozen on a still frame of Kevin McAllister holding his signature smirk. "Probably the wind," I said, trying to sound casual. "Yeah, wind," Ryan replied, not sounding convinced. We both leaned back against the cushions and tried to ignore it. The movie kept playing, but we weren't watching anymore. Our ears were tuned to every creak in the house, every pop of wood expanding in the summer heat. The storm was getting closer now, and light rain began tapping against the window pane like 1,000 little fingers. Then the power cut. The TV screen went black with a loud click, and the small lamp inside our fort dimmed out, casting everything into shadows. Ryan and I stared at each other, wide-eyed. He grabbed the flashlight from under his bed, a silver one with a cracked rubber grip and a flickering bulb. He turned it on, and the weak cone of light barely lit up his hand. The storm outside let out a low growl, thunder rolling like a slow drumbeat. "We should check with my mom," he whispered. I nodded, even though neither of us moved right away. It wasn't fear, not exactly, but something else. That strange mix of childhood imagination and reality, when every shadow might be something else, and every noise feels like a message. Even then, I think we both knew the knock was probably nothing, but the silence afterward made it feel bigger. We finally crawled out of the fort. His hallway was dark, the kind of darkness that made you feel like you shouldn't breathe too loudly. The flashlight beam bounced off the wallpaper, those old blue sailboats that looked like they'd been there since the 70s. Ryan's cat Milo darted past us, making us both jump. Ryan's parents were sitting on the couch, calm as ever, candles already lit. "Power's out across the block," his dad said. "Might be a few hours." "We heard something outside," Ryan said. His mom smiled gently. "It's just the wind, sweetie. Nothing to worry about." But there was something in the way she said it, soft but clipped, that made me wonder if she had heard it too. We went back to the living room and decided not to finish the movie. Instead, we turned the flashlight to the ceiling of our fort and talked until the storm passed over. We told stories, not scary ones this time, just ones we made up. We invented a secret agent who had to fight off invisible burglars using only Nerf guns and peanut butter. We laughed so hard Ryan started hiccuping, and slowly we forgot the knock. We fell asleep somewhere around midnight, curled up in the quiet warmth of our makeshift world, the storm still rumbling far in the distance. But that knock stayed with me. Years later, I asked Ryan about it again, and he said, "I don't know, man. Maybe it was just the wind, or maybe someone was messing with us." We were 17 then, sitting in his garage, half laughing about how scared we'd been that night. But I could tell he hadn't really forgotten it either. There was a pause before he answered, a tiny flicker in his eyes like he was weighing something. "Do you remember what Milo did right after the knock?" he asked. I thought for a moment. "Ran past us?" "No," Ryan said, his voice quieter. "He wasn't in the living room when we built the fort. He came from the kitchen side, that window near the garage." I frowned. "So?" He hesitated. "He hissed, dude, before he ran." I hadn't remembered that part, but Ryan sounded so sure, I felt it like it had just happened yesterday. We never talked about it again, but the sleepover stayed with me for other reasons too. It wasn't just the knock or the storm or the strange, flickering shadows on the wall. It was what that night meant. It was the last time things felt entirely simple. Before middle school made us insecure, before high school made us pretend, before girls, grades, jobs, and all the sharp edges of growing up. That night, all that mattered was two kids in a pillow fort, waiting for a storm to pass. And over time, the memory softened. The fear faded into background noise. The knock became just another detail in the hazy collage of my childhood. But the feeling of that night, it stayed sharp, crisp and warm like the pop of a VHS tape sliding into a player. A few weeks ago, I found an old Polaroid tucked inside one of my moving boxes. It was faded, but I recognized it instantly. Me and Ryan sitting in our blanket fort, grinning with soda mustaches, the blue glow of the TV behind us. In the bottom corner, in Ryan's sloppy handwriting, the sleepover of '96. We survived. I smiled and ran my thumb across the surface, feeling the little ridges of dried ink. And for a moment I was back there, back in the glow of a flashlight, back in a living room that smelled like popcorn and storm air. Back in a time when a knock on the wall could mean anything, and that was kind of the magic. Because that's the thing about childhood. It never really leaves you. It waits, tucked into old backpacks and taped up boxes, inside stories you only remember when you least expect it. And sometimes all it takes is a thunderstorm, or a creaky fence gate, or a voice saying, "Do you remember that one night?" to bring it all back again.